How's it going, everybody? My name is Artorigold, and today I'm going to be going over a video on how to play together as Roadhog or as Orisa. Now, both of these characters have a lot of synergy. Orisa can use her right click and put people into the air or behind shields or even boot people off the map. And by doing so, moving people out of position, it's really easy for people like Roadhog to take advantage of this by hooking the people if they time it right. I believe going Orisa Roadhog works really well on certain maps. Junkertown is a really good example of that, and some King of the Hill maps are also really good. So I'm going to place like a little weird shield. I kind of messed that up a little bit. So here I'm going to kind of just get set up. We're at a disadvantage. My shield was not very good. So here my Roadhog picks up a really good hook here. And so one of the things that you can do, if you're not able to do the combo, one of the things that you can do if your Roadhog gets a really good hook, you can use your right click to try and keep them in the same position so they're not able to escape. Like in that instance, it was pretty good. He was getting pocketed by a Ana and a Zen, and he was using his vape. So he was getting a lot of heals, and it was kind of difficult to get him. So in this instance, we're at a pretty big disadvantage. We've had a really rough start. We're getting picked left and right, and I think I'm probably at fault with that because my shield usage hasn't been that good. But you notice that's exactly what they try to do right there. See, one of the things you're trying to do is you're trying to, like, from the enemy's point of view, he's lifting me up into the air, and I'm above the shield, which makes it really difficult for me to do anything about that, and then I get hooked because of it. And that's basically your whole job as Orisa. You want to try to go for those hooks. In this instance, you can just like shield break too, which is really good. So here, I'm going to go ahead and push up. I'm going to try to get a little bit closer, put a shield, try to get some right clicks here, because one of the things you can do here is if you see the barrier and it has all these cracks in it like this, you can go ahead and shoot your right click as soon as that shield is about to die, because you know with a Roadhog and Orisa combo, since you're both going to probably be shooting at it, it's going to go down really quickly. I think it's only like 900, right? So our Roadhog right click plus Orisa left click shooting at it, it's really easy to break through that, and you can make sure to do the right click right as the shield breaks, especially if they don't have the shield and it's on cooldown, and you're able to go ahead and push forward with that instead of trying to get them above the shield or to the right. You can try to focus on winning the shield war instead, which is also extremely good. So what I'm trying to do right here, as you can see, is, and we get a really nice hook because of it, I'm going to land the right clicks just right on the side of it. So you always want to just, when you're looking at a shield, doing it right above is really good. If you can get them on the side, it's also a lot of value. I guess it really depends more about where your own Roadhog is positioned and what's easier for him to hook. As you can see, the Roadhog is right here next to me. You can see his hook, and it's right here, and so kind of going to the right is probably better in this instance. And being able to focus the target is really helpful, because sometimes even if you get a hook on a target, your Roadhog might not be able to finish that target off. So being able to focus whatever he hooks is really smart. It's definitely what I recommend doing. Unfortunately, we both get picked here, so it's definitely going to be a regroup phase here. So here we are. We're going to be grouping up. I think we just heard the Widowmaker get some walls out. So here we're gonna focus on shield breaking, and I'm gonna use my Fortify a little early. One thing is, if the enemy team is running a Roadhog and Orisa just like you, not only is the barrier gonna be going away and just be shredded on both sides, you're gonna be using your Fortify a little bit more aggressively. Even though I'm not taking in a lot of damage, I'm using Fortify because it makes it so I can't get hooked. Like if we go back, we'll notice my shield is dead, and I already have like 3 seconds on cooldown here before I can use the shield again. So in an instance like that, you need to use your Fortify, because there's no way that you're going to survive without Fortify with both of them still shooting at you. You just take so much damage. And also Fortify prevents you from getting hooked. So here, really good. I'm going to kind of be turning around and using my Supercharger. And one thing I think that's really useful, or something you should always be doing, is you want to body block. So if you use your Supercharger, you'll notice I'm pushing in front of it, and I'm trying to body block with Fortify. The Nano Boost was actually so insane. And here I'm going to do right clicks to try and make sure that they don't get away. Very easy to do on targets like Zenyatta. Right clicking targets, you want to go for the right clicks on targets that are very easy to hook and kill, preferably something with like no mobility. Something like a Zenyatta is a perfect example of a really good target to try and do that with your Roadhog. Here I'm going to go ahead and try to body block a little bit because I want to make sure that they can't touch the point. Unfortunately, the Hanzo Storm, there's just too much damage output. We get the point though, I think. So here, we're going to be trying doing the same thing. Making sure to communicate when you hook like that is huge. And it's just almost nothing that anybody, like if you time this right, it almost doesn't matter. See, this Orisa really messed up. As you can see, she had her Fortify ability ready. Using your Fortify after you get hooked is a really big problem. You really want to be able to use it because it stops you from getting right clicked, it stops you from getting hooked, and all around it's just going to save your life. Especially if like you're able to land this combo consistently. Being in this position all alone and this little health after the damage coming from, I mean, you're not going to be able to fortify until after Roadhog lands a full left click into you, and I'm left clicking while that's happening as well. So if this happens to you, if you're on the receiving end of this, I always recommend that you have to either play extremely safe or use your fortify early. It's better to use your fortify early than to just die without having any use of it whatsoever, like that Orisa just had right in that situation. Her Fortify literally did nothing for her. She used it when she had like 1 HP, and that's basically what's going to happen every single time, unless you use it, unless you use it like premature. You have to go and do it early. It's the only way to get away with that. So here, using it around corners on targets that are unable to move is really good, and you can kind of use it to zone people. I like to use the Orisa right click. Right there, I think it was a little ambitious. One thing to take a note in Orisa is if there is a Hanzo on the enemy team, he can just destroy you. I mean, it's so easy for Hanzo to click E on his Stormbow and just land every single one of those arrows into your head. Orisa probably has the biggest hitbox for her head. It's extremely easy to crit an Orisa. So always take that in mind when you're pushing someone. See right there? That was really good usage. You notice the Orisa used her Fortify right before the hook and the Halt ability. I believe it's Halt, right? The right click. So as soon as that goes out, you want to be able to do that. Unfortunately, again, I get obliterated by this Hanzo. So here we're going to be regrouping, trying to push the cart. So as you can see, I'm trying to get a little baby steps at a time. I'm not pushing forward quite yet. I'm waiting for my shield cooldown, and I'm going to be pushing as much as possible. You have to be really dangerous against a Roadhog with his ult. As Orisa, I think that it has a lot of damage potential against you, but if you try to get too close to it, because your Fortify is making it so you're not able to back off or get pushed away from him, so every single bullet is going to just go right into you, and it's going to probably hurt you a lot more than you expect, even with the damage reduction. So you have to be really careful about that. Fortify can hurt you a little bit. So here, I'm going to go ahead and use my Supercharger aggressively, and you're able to just melt people as, I mean, a Nano Boost especially too. But I think your whole team with Supercharger, it's one of the most underused abilities in the game. And using my Fortify to push past my shield a little bit, and as soon as I'm able to land headshots with like a Nano and a Supercharger, anybody's going to get melted. Like, look at this Orisa. She's just getting destroyed. Whew. Orisa can do a lot of damage, and with the Orisa actually just got buffed recently. Her bullet spread got, she got a buff where her bullet spread is actually like, I think it's 15 or 20% less bullet spread, meaning that if you're trying to shoot at people from longer ranges, it does a lot more consistent damage. So here, one thing that you want to do, it's a little hard to do that. You basically want to go in and outside of your shield in situations like that. And of course, it didn't matter. I was just kind of alone, so they were able to push me. So here, very good hook combo from the Roadhog. All game, I think that we've had some really great synergy. And see right there, I'm going to use Fortify as soon as I see that Hanzo, because I know that Hanzo is going to be able to melt me, which is one of the reasons why I think he was pushing me. Luckily, my Roadhog is really smart with his whole hog there. I really screw up that right click, right, by the way. But a Roadhog right click is extremely powerful. Not only in the damage potential, like it can completely waste the enemy, it's also really powerful ability to use in combination with your Supercharger, because not only is Whole Hog extremely powerful, but you can combine it with Supercharger and it does so much more damage. Another thing that's great about it is if it's an Orisa Hog mirror matchup, the Roadhog Whole Hog can completely decimate the Orisa shield. If you time your right clicks correctly, right as the shield is being broken, you can ult them and keep them in the same spot, so the Roadhog ult does a ton more damage. So now we're on defense, and defense, we're definitely going to be playing the same kind of strategy. I think we're all going to be kind of playing together. It also, Junkertown's one of those maps that's like notorious for a Bastion, so you got to be really careful. Bastion's really difficult to deal with. Orisa and Hog do really well against Bastion, but you have to be patient. You notice how I'm backing off right there. You don't want to sit here, right? You have a shield with like so little shit. What does Bastion exceed at? Bastion excels at killing shields and tanks. And at the same time, he's going to be protected, and there's going to be a Roadhog and Orisa also doing damage to your shield. So your shield is almost non-existent. So the only way to like beat it is you want to wait for the cart to move around to a corner, because as you know, the Orisa shield is only going to cover this one frontal area, and your goal is basically to right click people around. Well, first off, you want to wait for the payload to get around to like a corner, so either around here or around this area. And as once that happens, the Bastion is going to be exposed in the back. Before you're able to go on that Bastion, you need to land a right click to get everybody away from the Bastion, so then Roadhog's able to land his hook and then just pull the Bastion away from everybody else, because it's gonna, the right click is gonna isolate people away from the Bastion. And once you have people isolated and the shield is not protecting him, that's when you go for the Roadhog hook. It's all about patience. If you just dive the Bastion immediately while holding right here, you're just gonna have troubles. It's not gonna do anything, and you're just gonna get melted. So we're down our main healer. Actually, both teams are down main healer, so it's kind of even. I do the fortify just to back off because we're lacking the heals. So as you can tell, we're gonna be trying to pull people off the cart, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to be pulling people off the cart, so then we could hook and go behind them. But we're kind of at a bad spot right now because we're both down main healers. I think we're at a bigger disadvantage because having a main healer is more important against a Bastion rather than the Bastion. So here, use the fortify, and we almost get that hook off, but it's just, I think, I guess it just didn't connect or something. I want to see what happened to the hook. I'm not sure. I saw that he used the hook, but I wasn't able to see where it went because he was in front of me, kind of body blocking my vision a little bit. So here we're going to be getting them a lot of space. I don't think it's a bad thing to give them space. If you get too ambitious or impatient, you're just going to feed the Bastion. You really need to wait for them to get like around here, so then you can put a shield up and hook them and fire at the back, and that's the weakness of the Bastion. All you have to do to stop a Bastion comp is just kill him once, because then Bastion's not going to be able to get set up again. He's going to be back here or here, and he's just going to have the worst time, and it's not going to work anymore. So keep that in mind when playing against the Bastion. You only need to kill him once. That's your goal. So using your right click in this, when he's like running away, is really good. Doomfist is also pretty decent against Bastion as long as you have your ultimate. So here, you notice we kill the Bastion once, and it's easy. See, look right there. I don't know what he was doing there. That was not the position he should have been in. But because he was out of position and he's not set up on the cart and his teammate is not helping or protecting him, he's extremely easy to kill because you have our Ana, who's able to sleep and anti him, which makes it so he can't heal himself. And of course we have Orisa and Roadhog, who can kill him from a range and hook him. So that's all you need to do. See right here, the Bastion's going to have the most difficult time setting up now. And because of this, they're just going to kind of waste time. Once Bastion gets off the cart, I think if you're playing Bastion, or if you're a Bastion player, you'll know this. But at this point, you probably need to swap off Bastion. If you're holding on to him because maybe you have an ultimate, then I would just start using it. I wouldn't hold that ultimate at all, because right now you're just going to be losing the game because of it. If you hold on to that ultimate, you're just wasting time, and that's exactly what we want to do on defense. We just want to waste your time. So here, one of the nice things about Roadhog Orisa on defense is that you're able to start doing damage to the enemy team's shield first, which gives you a huge advantage in the shield war. So you're going to be able to continue left clicking and shooting the shield before it gets set up, and your damage coming in is going to be greater than theirs. So I think Supercharger is great here. Yeah, and I have the Nano Boost. I'm feeling the power. I'm going to go ahead and try to just finish out Orisa off. He's like literally 1 HP, which is really good. Focusing a supercharger is also not a bad idea. You notice the Orisa wasn't protecting her supercharger at all right there. I think if you try to focus on keeping your supercharger alive as long as possible, it helps your team the most. It's extremely powerful, and I think people really underutilize the bongos. The bongos is actually such a strong ability. I don't know why people don't play around the bongos more, especially as Orisa. I think you're probably the only person on the team who's going to be actively trying to protect the bongo. I don't think anybody on your team is going to try and help you with that. Using a halt on a Winston is extremely good when he dives because it makes it so your Roadhog is able to get a really easy hack, or I was looking at Sombra, gets a really easy hook on the Winston, and Roadhog can just decimate a Winston. His head hitbox is also really huge, so it's really easy for Roadhog to land some crit damage on him. Alright, so they have a Sombra. One thing that I do think Sombra is a really good counter to Orisa and Hog because you are very vulnerable to hacks. I think that's really a weakness of Orisa, because once you get hacked, you're basically just a 400 health tank. And compared to all the other tanks in the game, that's the lowest. That's the lowest amount of health that a tank has. So as soon as you get hacked, you basically lose all of your tankiness. I really don't think 400 health Orisa, without her shield, without her fortify, she's very vulnerable. She's so easy to kill. Roadhog, same thing, because Roadhog's survivability comes from his heal. And as soon as he doesn't have his heal, or his hook, Roadhog becomes just a meat shield who just soaks damage, but he's unable to heal it back, which makes him extremely inefficient. I actually think that I got headshot by a Widowmaker reflect into my Genji here. Yeah, I think that's what happened right there. That's rather unfortunate. So here, we're definitely holding very well. I think using your right click on the Zenyatta is always really good. I think I forced trans because of that, which is really good usage of my right click. If you're able to force a support to use a defensive ult to save themselves rather than saving the team, that is a lot of value from your right click. That is an insane amount of value. So as you can see through, what you can do is, because there's such a large range of your right click, and as you can tell, obviously my Roadhog is right there, and he is looking right there as well. That is the worst arrow I've ever drawn. There we go. So if you shoot a right click here, and even though you don't see anybody because of this corner, the range is going to go like past here. So there's potentially people walking up right here. This is still really a good gamble because you're able to just get a pick around this corner. An enemy team is probably not going to expect it because they're still grouping up somewhere at the spawn door back here. So they have no idea that it's even going to be happening, right? So doing this around corners, the right click combo for Orisa and Hog is extremely good. Even though it doesn't pay off, I think it's worth doing a blind one. A really ambitious D.Va ult. I'm not sure what she was thinking there. I think Kaizen sums it up in chat very well. Question mark indeed. So here, I think it's pretty good to focus down on a Brig shield and to right click the Brig, because Brig is usually really difficult to deal with, and by kiting her backwards or hooking her with Roadhog, it's really easy to try and help finish her off, because you don't want her to get a melee range of you. So when you use the right clicks to try and get her away from you, so you're able to kind of keep her in place with Hult and just burn her shield. And as soon as Brig doesn't have her shield, she's then unable to use her shield bash, which makes her also really just kind of like worse, because that's like the best thing about Brig is her shield bash. So overtime situation, and as you can tell here, I'm going to be body blocking the supercharger. One thing to keep in mind as Orisa, I think I've said this before, is you always want to body block your supercharger, because I don't think anybody else on your team is going to do that for you. So it is your primary job to do that. Overall, in summary, make sure that you understand when your Roadhog has his hook cooldown and that he is next to you, so he is able to hook with your right click and you are able to combo that together. Use your body blocking on your supercharger. As I've said before, nobody else is going to save the supercharger but you, so it is up to you entirely in order to do that. Make sure to have your shield cooldown first before you have a supercharger ready, because you want to make sure you have a full shield duration immediately for that supercharger, and a fortify will also help it, because if they break through the shield, you can fortify and just stand right on top of it. And I definitely recommend playing Orisa Roadhog combo on maps like Junkertown, Ilios Well, It's also really good on the indoor section map of Nepal. Any environmental kill areas, extremely powerful to run that combo. But I don't recommend using Orisa Roadhog on every map because something that those tanks have a weakness with is verticality and mobility. So maps like Gibraltar are going to be extremely difficult for you because there is a lot of high ground and it's really easy for things like Widowmaker to be uncontested. Anyways, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and then please make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.